So before I hit record on today's episode, I went to the internet to look at the questions that highly sensitive people are asking about their sensitivity. And one of the most common questions that was being asked is, how do I fix my sensitivity? So I thought, you know what? Let's talk about it. Let's talk about the number one mistake that you might be making in trying to fix your sensitivity as a highly sensitive person in the world. Welcome to the podcast. I am Erica Webb, registered counsellor, somatic exercise coach, yoga teacher, and a very sensitive person. I am so thrilled you're here. This is a space where we can talk about what it's like to be sensitive in the world that often just feels like it wasn't designed for us. And that's where I want to start today, is talking about this question. What is the number one mistake that we are making in trying to fix our sensitivity? And that's the mistake, that we're trying to fix something that isn't broken. It can feel like that's true, right? It can feel like, no, actually, I'm the problem here, because the world often feels too loud, too bright, too much, too emotional, too everything. And it feels really hard to navigate. So I must be the problem because I see plenty of other people navigating just fine. The thing is, there's a lot of us, right? There are a lot of sensitive people in the world, and I don't think we are navigating it just fine. I don't think that the systems are particularly well set up to work with a sensitive nervous system. And so let's make the assumption that you are not the problem. Let's make the assumption that your sensitivity does not need to be fixed because it's not actually broken. And if we agree to at least play with that hypothesis, then where does that leave us? That leaves us with a different question. If I'm not trying to fix my sensitivity, then what am I doing to make it easier to navigate the world? Because at the end of the day, that's why we'd be asking that question. We'd be only asking, how do I fix this? Because we feel like it's causing a problem. So the question really becomes, how do I navigate the world with more ease, more confidence, rather than how do I fix something inherent in me that really isn't a problem. It isn't broken. It isn't a bad thing. It's just something that we need to learn how to work with. So I want to pose a few questions, and I want you to take the questions that work for you. I want you to chuck out the ones that don't and see what comes up around, does this feel supportive? Because if we're switching out this question of how do I fix this and instead asking something else, then the question has to be something around, how do I support my sensitivity? How do I nurture my sensitivity? How do I love my sensitivity? So I've got 3 questions and I'm going to ask them and see what comes up for you. You might want to write them down. You might want to journal on them. I'll make sure I put them in the show notes as well so that you've got easy access to those questions. But like I said, take what works, chuck what doesn't. This is just an invitation to explore, how might I be supported? So question number 1 is, how would my sensitivity like to be loved? Question number 2, if I was going to offer my sensitivity its perfect day, what would that be? What would I do or not do? And question number 3, if I want my sensitivity to know that it's not bad or in need of any kind of fixing, what would I tell it? What would I have it know? So they're the 3 questions. I'm going to go through them one more time. How would my sensitivity like to be loved? If I was going to offer my sensitivity its perfect day, what would that be? What would I do? What would I not do? And if I want my sensitivity to know that it's not bad, that it doesn't need fixing, what would I tell it? What would I have it believe? I would love to know what comes up from those questions if you are willing to share. I get this really lovely image of me like wrapped in a blanket with a book and a cup, a delicious cup of tea or something when I think about like that perfect date. What would my perfect high sensitivity date with myself be? I think that could be really powerful. And then the kind of extension of answering those questions becomes, what can I take from those answers to incorporate into my day? So that at various points throughout my day, I am offering the support, the love, the nurturance, and the beauty of being seen to my sensitivity, which is really to you, right? Your sensitivity is not separate to you. It is not distinct from you. It is part of who you are. And so how are you showing yourself those things? How are you showing yourself that love? I hope those questions are supportive. Let me know how you go. I also want to take the time to tell you a little bit more about Soma Home, which is coming up at the end of April. This is my online group program for sensitive people who want to learn how to better regulate themselves, how to better manage overwhelm, and how to make friends with themselves, how to make friends with their body, how to make friends with their sensitivity, so that doing these things, taking yourself out on that perfect date, loving yourself, becomes more possible. So we are starting that at the end of April. The doors aren't open to registration yet, but there is an early interest list available on my website. And the people who are on that list will get the first opportunity to join, but they'll also get a discount. And so if you are even a little bit curious, there's no obligation going on that list, but you definitely get a little bonus for being there if you do decide to join. So head to ericawebb.com.au/Soma, SOMA -home, HOME. All right, I will look forward to talking to you and seeing you again real soon.